Autism is a neurological disorder that a child might be born with that affects their social and communication skills. We've seen kids from ages 18 months with a new diagnosis, which is pretty early. Typically, people don't get a diagnosis till after 2, because before that age, development is so variable. Language is so variable before age 2, and social skills are very variable. So anywhere from ages 2 up to into adulthood, we see people with autism here. An IEP is an individualized education plan. Children in this state and in most states, starting at age 3, are eligible for education services through the public school. A team of people, teachers, speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, psychologist, special ed teacher, would all evaluate the child and then come together with the parents as a team and go over the results and find a way how they can support that child in the education setting. They're eligible for that up until age 21, and they would get all their therapies at school. However, those therapies are only directed towards educational function, not towards function in your daily life at home and in the community necessarily, which is where outpatient occupational therapy might come in. Here in outpatient therapy, we always get a copy of the IEP so that we can collaborate with the child's team to make sure that we're supporting them across environments, because we don't want to do something opposite of what school's already implementing, and we only want to support that child's functioning in all areas, including school. If a parent has a concern about, say, they have a really hard time coming and going from the house, they don't like that transition, they have a hard time starting and completing their daily routines such as getting dressed, brushing their teeth, picky eating and eating meals, then they might talk to their doctor and say, I would like to try outpatient occupational therapy, and they would write a prescription for that. As a practitioner, I have to have a prescription in order to see you, and you would get an intake person at the facility that you're looking at. They will do all of the paperwork part, then you come in for your one-on-one evaluation with the occupational therapist, which is very comprehensive. So occupational therapy looks at all of the daily routines that a child participates in and what the family participates in. And so we will work with the parent in identifying what areas of your day are difficult and what areas of the day are easy. And we build upon those strengths to help the parents help their child through their daily routines. In some cases, children with autism have a harder time processing the sensory input from their environment, meaning that they might over-respond to some of the stimuli or they might under-respond to some of the stimuli in their environment. For example, if there's bright lights, they might get overstimulated and try to hide away from that. Or if there's too loud of noises, they might avoid that situation or cover their ears, which really impairs them from participating in whatever task they're doing. In some cases, when kids are under-responsive, their body and their brain might be saying, go, 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 let's move, in which case they're not going to be able to sit to learn or participate in their daily routines because all they want to do is move and get the input that their body is craving. So if you come in for an occupational therapy evaluation and I notice that there might be some other areas of concern, such as communication or mobility or muscle tone or strength, I might refer you also to the speech therapist or the physical therapist for a comprehensive evaluation also, which is going to be part of that whole dynamic team that your child would benefit from.
So we see a wide variety. I mean, speech always kind of runs the gamut. We have a huge continuum of clients on the spectrum. We might see higher functioning clients that are very verbal and very engaging. We might try to work on some of that social interaction, what's appropriate, how do we communicate with other peers or adults. We also see the other end of the spectrum where they might be nonverbal and may have no form of communication yet. And that's where we come in and we have to find what mode works best for them. There's so many different outlets for kids to be able to communicate. We kind of do a trial and error basis and see what works for them. Every child with autism has a voice. They all have something to say. We just have to find how we can get that out. I think one of the benefits of doing outpatient services is we have the option to do co-treating with occupational therapists, which can be very beneficial for some kids. I think another benefit is also that it's one-on-one, and we have a lot of parent interaction.
We really incorporate the parent into the sessions because what I'm doing with that child once a week for 45 minutes is not going to make the big impact. It's really teaching the parent strategies and how do we carry this over to the home to make a big impact long term across all settings. So we might recommend specific techniques, sensory techniques or equipment to try at home, or we might recommend behavioral techniques and those kind of things. We always incorporate the parent, and every week you come back to therapy and we talk about how those strategies worked or not and how do we tweak what's going on at home. Sometimes when kids come to occupational therapy, we'll try all of our techniques and see if they work. A lot of times it is trial and error. And if we do find that none of these things are working for the family, that they're not making any improvements at home, we will recommend other services. Sometimes kids with autism will utilize ABA therapy, which is applied behavioral analysis therapy, which will implement behavioral techniques to improve their participation on top of the sensory strategies that an occupational therapist might use. So children with autism here in the state of Wisconsin are eligible. They might have a primary insurance through their parents' work. They also might have a secondary insurance through the Wisconsin Medicaid program, which helps them have access to different programs that their primary might not cover. Insurance doesn't cover everything. If a piece of equipment is not considered durable medical equipment, insurance isn't going to help you fund that. In which case, every county has different programs, long-term county waivers that can help you fund that equipment. What I would tell a parent with a new diagnosis is really just connect with your community and connect with others who might understand what you're going through, and tour a lot of different places, talk to a lot of different people, and just see what's out there and feel what's the best fit for your family. And once your child reaches adolescence age, you're going to want to start thinking about what's our future going to look like. And your school IEP team can help you with that transition, which starts anywhere from ages like around 12 to 15. They start helping you think about what's going to happen after school. Your child's going to be eligible for school until they're 21, but in those last few years of school, it might be more community integration, supported job work, and just helping you figure out what life after school is going to look like.